Now, talking to Jörg Roskopf, we talked about talent. That was the word he used. People that just are good at sports all around. He said Dima has had to work hard from the start for everything. Some other players, he said, Bastian Steger, Timo Boll, Ricardo Walter, they're all good at many sports. Dima just runs and works hard. And it shows out here. He's been unbelievably focused. He knew it was a unique opportunity, maybe a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become world #1. Last time a non-Chinese player was world #1 was 2011, Timo Boll.
1-all.
So the second serve for the point, that reverse pendulum signature serve. Speaking of signature serves, we'll have a lot of those throughout this match from Dima. Just missing the back edge, beautiful point. Dimitrij Ovtcharov playing such high-level table tennis right now.
2-1.
It's easy to say, well, Fan Zhendong was using different equipment. He wasn't at his best, whatever the case may be. Fan Zhendong just recovered a net ball, spinning it all over the table. And Dima getting ready for the next shot every time.
1-3.
So 2 times in this tournament so far, Dima has prematurely chode while the point ended up going to his opponent, thinking it was over. Well, it might be entertaining for the crowd. Dima does not want to fall victim to that habit once again.
2-3.
Going to stay focused for every single shot as best he can. Talking to Rossi, he said in preparation, even before the final for T2, there was a lot of preparation going into this tournament right here, multi-balls.
4-2.
First towel break of the game, Dima leading 4-2. I think one thing a lot of people don't realize about the professional players is it is so specific. Just like every shot in the rally, when they train, if they take a week off, I mean, it's almost unheard of. Just vacation time, maybe once a year, something like that, but they really do have to focus on specific tournaments for their preparation. And even more specifically, as you heard the Chinese players saying, I prepared for this match. This is true for all the top players. Video library, talking with coach, physical therapy, how you practice your training, who your practice partner is. Have to love these rallies. Harimoto gave a lot of rallies like this with Dima yesterday.
3-5.
Fan Zhendong, you would expect nothing less. Right now, the percentage of points that have been just shocking, such high quality points, I think we're guaranteed a show. No chance, beautiful shot to finish. Dima taking a swatting backhand from so wide after this inside-out forehand from Fan Zhendong. And Fan Zhendong under pressure, playing it back to the complete opposite side of the table. This is how you like to see points end, with a winner down the line. Still a 1-point lead here for Dima. Side and top on the sky lobs. Doesn't bend back enough. It was played out wide over the head of Dima. He thought he could bend it back with the side spin. I think the shot before he might have thought was a little bit too wide to the forehand, in danger of coming down wide, so he started playing it a little more centrally. Look at the twiddle of the racket there. Fan Zhendong now with the red side out on the forehand, the side of the racket that makes it spring off the rubber faster. Softer sponge as opposed to the tackier black hard side for the opening spin shot. Already several highlight points in the first game of the match.
5-6.
So Fan Zhendong up by 2 at the second towel break of the game.
7-5.
Dima had been playing quite well. He was up 5-3 and now 4 points in a row for Fan Zhendong. Now one thing that was a key ingredient for Dima, who's got the crowd behind him right now, sure doesn't hurt to be able to speak the local language. Not to mention play really, really well throughout the year. So this is smart, changing the pace a little bit. And of course it's smart because he won the point, but I was just thinking, one thing that Dima said he really improved in his game is that he traded some of his power. He sacrificed some of the power for speed, meaning he can recover and stay in the rally. He doesn't need to hit every shot as hard as he possibly can. But here Fuldi moves in, and the long serve to the backhand comes behind Dima, forcing a long push back.
6-8.
A little bit of side on that, but still the angle and the speed Fan Zhendong brings, quite threatening. 2 points between them. Now Lin Gaoyuan yesterday gave 3 of that serve out of the first 4 back into the net. A little bit shorter from Dima though. Watch the contact, heavy under, but not quite short enough. Wants a second bounce on his opponent's side of the table, right at the baseline. Some Russians shouted out for Dima. Ooh, surprises him. Mostly side, looks like there's more topspin on it than there was. Dropped into the net. Dima will be testing out his different serves. I actually wouldn't give up on the tomahawk yet. If you can just shorten it up a little bit. Again, for me, Dima's backhand, that's where it's at. Dima handling, staying cool as Fan Zhendong decides to stop for a moment and wipe some sweat. Top edge of the racket, up and out. Dima missing the contact. Now 3 game points for Fan Zhendong to take the first.
7.
It goes out. Dima 11-7 loses game 1. Fan Zhendong in control so far, looking for revenge, back with more familiar equipment and looking to take back what happened in Germany. It's a long way to go still. It's a best of 7 and Dima's come back many times before. We will see game 2 coming up after this.
Da hat er am Anfang die Probleme gehabt. Ja. Da ein bisschen variiert. Und ab und zu mit der Vorhand zum Rutsch dagegen, so wie eben auch dann. Ja. Das ist ganz gut, weil dann stehst du für den nächsten Ball. Ja? Alles gut, ja. Das war gut. Ja. Faust bei jedem Ball, das ist gut. Ja. Positiv. Das war gut. Aber auf geht's.
Back for game number 2. Davai, davai, the fans cheer for Dima. Go for it in Russian, they say. So we will see. Again, he was up 5-3, a solid start halfway through the game.
Second
and then
game.
Fan Zhendong with quite a run.
Octcharov to serve. Lavo.
Dima back to the backhand serve. Had some success with it in the first game. Backhand deep. Again, I said it before, I'll say it again. The backhand is where it's at. If Dima can earn that shot, serving from the backhand, it leaves the table a lot more for the backhand shot.
Correct.
That's a good point. The score is incorrect. It is not actually 11-7 here at the start of game 2. Now the screens have it right. 1-0 here for Dima. Oh, Fan Zhendong with the parallel winner. Those parallel shots are tougher because you've got less margin for error, but they're so important, especially in times where they'd be less expected. Typically, they are less expected because they're a little bit less safe.
Let 1-all.
If you haven't already seen it, save it for later, because right now you're watching the best thing you can watch for table tennis. But Dimitrij Ovtcharov versus Tomokazu Harimoto, the showdown on the official ITTF Facebook page. It's quite entertaining.
Let 1-2.
Just reminded of it hearing Dima's cho. Dima may have won the match, but he lost the showdown.
2-all.
No break off the top of the net. Two very short bounces. Fan Zhendong so fast to react. But no mercy, ball, no luck, I should say anyway. Ball does not come off the table. A little bit off the top of the net, but Dima, that's exactly what I hope to see from that tomahawk serve. A bit shorter on the table this time. While he doesn't get a clean first attack, he gets Fan Zhendong to step around and re-guides it, redirects it with that backhand counter right off the bounce. Sort of a redirectional backhand block. Love these points. When Fan Zhendong starts hulking out and grunting, who blocks that confidently? And then Dima starts to counter with the forehand. Can you turn the game up any higher? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen here throughout the match. Backhand again all over the table. If he can get that first backhand in, the wrist is more flexible there. This is part of the reason the backhand receive is so popular. And I think Dima has really been the proof in the pudding. Of course, the top Chinese national team members as well. But Dima has been so effective in that backhand receive. This was a big point for me, a 7-2 lead versus a 6-3 lead. Last game he was up 5-3 and Dima wasn't able to hang on. Fan Zhendong can break free.
Four, 6.
Just missing long. Fan Zhendong's placement there really paying off. Parallel shot wide to the backhand side. Dima from the middle of the table is going to have a much tougher time, especially on the forehand side, to use that backhand. If Fan Zhendong plays it deep on the backhand side.
Let 4, 6.
So that serve was a surprise one again. Dima caught moving in. Fan Zhendong playing it wisely. A reverse pendulum serve is much easier to play middle of the table or forehand than it is deep to the opposite side of the table, the backhand to the righty. Fan Zhendong having so many serves for moments like these. 3 in a row for Fan Zhendong. Second serve here. Perfectly placed, the bigger middle, and if he can get Dima to use the forehand, second towel break of the game. This is not the time for the timeout. That stance, Fan Zhendong so strong, looking like a superhero with his feet probably 5 feet apart as he turns and twists for that loop. Dima back with the serves. Well played. Changing up the pattern here. Getting Fan Zhendong to play into the forehand side.
7-6.
Oh, this one gets away. From here, it looked like that one drifted a bit long. The rotation was tough to read, but maybe that was the issue. Light underspin, slightly emptier than it appeared. Fan Zhendong sure lifted it out. Maybe that was part of the plan. Have to sort of imagine it was. No, just out of reach. Fan Zhendong stays very focused to hang in there for that side spin from under the table. Dima saves this one, fishes it back. That one was a little shallow. I'm surprised Fan Zhendong didn't finish the point there.
7-8.
And again, shallow on the table. Has to keep it deep to stay in the rally there. So Dima still up by 1. Fan Zhendong with his second serve. So interesting, the relationship between these players. Dima played 3 years of the Chinese Super League. He's got a lot of friends in China, a lot of fans in China. They call him Octcharov. And he's friends with Fan Zhendong. I would love to have his second win here tonight.
9-8.
But the delayed exhale with the backhands don't work out on that point. Still a 1-point lead. Dima just 2 points away from taking the second game and tying up the score. I think that would do a lot to the confidence of Fan Zhendong, make things a bit tighter. Well, I think he appreciates the crowd's support. Not used to it right at the time of serve. So beautiful. Fan Zhendong right down the line. There aren't many places with the wide wingspan of Dima you can beat him when he's centered on the table if you're playing the corners. Catch him on the crossover point? Sure, maybe. Now, this is the type of atmosphere you want. Very rarely do we hear someone out cheering the Chinese fans in the crowd. Very rarely. Oh, beautiful! Once again, Fan Zhendong, Pyongyang on their feet, screaming. The fans know excellent when they see it. That is out of this world play. Dima doing everything to keep the ball in play with aggression. Look at this. 1 foot sneaks behind the right foot, and in that moment that he's slightly out of position, Fan Zhendong knows his timing and does not let this opportunity slip. Game point for Fan Zhendong. Oh, misses the backhand under pressure. Had some opportunity here. It wasn't the overpowering Fan Zhendong. It wasn't the soft touch. Just early in the rally, change of spin here. And Dima drops game 2. Fan Zhendong up 2-0. We will see. The match continues. Game number 3 right after this.
关键有的时候他过来的时候，可能还过来戳你一下，这会儿要注意后面的衔接就行了。非常好，好吧，坚定啊！
Back for game number 3.
Third
Dima
game,
trying to
fun
find
to serve, level.
that peace of mind. Something out here to take a game to start the streak, but it's all 1 point at a time. Zhendong with the serve here.
1 love.
This is not a typical point. Definitely not a typical point of this match. Zhendong with a long push to a guy who's not in over the table, who has a big forehand. And Dima misses his shot, spins it out. There's the backhand.
1-0.
Waits to see. Zhendong leaves a little room on the wide forehand corner. Dima finds it. Now this is the type of fishing that Dima can do effectively. Did you see where the bounce was on the table? Yes, me too. Right at the baseline and kicking. Watch one more time here. Low to the net. It's not an easy ball to counter, especially when you know your opponent has a rocket backhand that can finish the point from even back there. 2 pendulum serves in a row and 2 points for Dima. That's going to be some encouragement for the pendulum serve. Some tally marks to vote that one into play a bit more. This is the serve we saw Dimitrij Ovtcharov use for years and years against Ma Long. Still not a victory against Ma Long. Zhendong. Seriously. Dima goes for broke. He punches it back down the line. Soft one to the middle. There's the one to the backhand, and he's way outside. Zhendong so fast, just leaping through. Again, Dima, the hardest working player in Europe for sure.
3-all.
And Zhendong just has so much energy out there right now. I talked about how Timo plays every match like it's his last opportunity. Zhendong doing the same. That was the sound of a wedding ring from Dima on the table. Tied up at 3 points each.
3-4.
So it doesn't go back to the pendulum serve. He uses the backhand from the middle of the table. His placement has been very precise. We've seen less and less service errors from Dima as the tournament's gotten thicker and tougher, which is interesting. Usually it's the other way around. But again, he's working really hard and making big steps this year.
5-4.
But receive equally important here. Zhendong has surprised the opponents. Here's the timeout. Dima's going to be back in the corner. Says this is the time to seize the opportunity. So down by 1. Again, he's down 0 games to 2. So if he doesn't use the timeout now, it might be irrecoverable.
Wenn du einen Aufschlag weit drüber, dann kein Seitenaufschlag. Wenn dann wieder gerade so. Aber der Rückeraufschlag, der funktioniert ja gut, wenn der weit vorne aufkommt. Das ist okay. Ja?
Time.
All right, I like the energy there. Dima with a little bit of confirmation to the suggestions of Jorg Roskopf. What they were, we will find out. Or we may never know, unless, of course, you speak German, which is
5-4.
a lot of people. Right out of the timeout, Fan Zhendong takes the next point. The length of the push and the height of the push, so crucial in this short game. One shot we haven't seen, hasn't come up yet, that forehand flip from Dima, which can be quite strong.
Let 4-6.
But the opening loop tends to be stronger, the backhand. Soft and spinny. It's funny to describe it that way, but again, relative to Dima's power that we've seen out here, that opening forehand was much slower, a bit more of an arcing loop than it was a drive shot to win the point. The touch from Fan Zhendong leaves it short on the table. Dima late to get in. Who would have expected that Fan Zhendong could control that ball so well from the baseline? Leaves open that wide forehand. Fan Zhendong leading by 2 at the second towel break. We already saw one 4-0 victory with Chun Meng. We're gonna see one here. Dima would vote no.
7-6.
Nice use of the spin. Block tactic. Gives a little extra spin back and it jumps up off the edge of the racket. Fan Zhendong caught in between decisions. Not playing his super aggressive self. Oh.
6-8.
Now I talked also about how he's prematurely choked. This one was unfortunate for Dima. Fan Zhendong making a shot in a tough, awkward rally. Flips the top of the net, still comes down deep on the table. Perfect placement right into the middle. Dima started to turn. The backhand would have been the easier cover there. But who would have known that Fan Zhendong could quickly play the ball right back to where he did? 3 points down. No, he chases it. Fan Zhendong thought he had won it with that full commitment receive. Dima anticipates, covers the table, and brings it back. Earns himself a higher ball to rip for the winner. That was the one. Rarely do we see Fan Zhendong running with his back to the table. Xu Xin, sure, yeah. Fan Zhendong, it's like a comet. Got to see it, the shooting star.
10-7.
Now 3 game points for Fan Zhendong to go up 3-0. Dima picking the dry lip here.
Let 10-7.
Oh man, Dima had a nice rhythm going, a nice pattern, and to rain on the parade, Fan Zhendong comes back with an even better answer. On the run, his head facing out toward his right shoulder, he hits it right down the line. Dima on the wrong side of the body. Fan Zhendong looking like diamonds right now out here, 11-7, 9-7. And we'll be back for game number 4. We'll see if it's the last, or if Dima can do anything about it. Game 4 coming up after this.
掉到你，他围到反手有点往外飘，那我稍微等一下，为什么不着急？我这下黑要再变直线了，那我再等一下，我把我再拉下去，等它防正了以后，我再从这拉出去就可以了。别的线都非常啊，行吧，就这种坚决啊。
So here we are back for game number 4. Now for me, belief. Dima has to believe.
Fourth game.
That'll be a
Octcharov to
big
serve,
ingredient. He's
level.
trained so well. He's got the stamina, he's got the technique, he's got everything it takes. Is the belief there?
One love.
Getting the first point sure couldn't hurt. Now, whether you believe in the audience or not, yes, it seems unlikely. Does Dima believe?
1-all.
Fan Zhendong understands the importance of staying on top of the game here. Can't soften up. 3-0 lead. I think it's a good sign for table tennis that one of the best Chinese players, one of the best players in the world, is concerned up 3-0 against a German.
2-1.
And while these shots are still quite fast, I think if Dima can use Fan Zhendong's power and spin coming in, take a little bit off slightly shorter strokes, and that's exactly what he does here. Could be effective. After all, that's what helped him in the last time they played. Little break off the top of the net. Fan Zhendong simultaneously apologizing and showing to himself for a moment. Needs to keep himself pumped. Tomahawk serve back. Good focus from Dima here. Serve comes a little bit long. Fan Zhendong spins it on. With a very spinny ball like this, some are tempted to chop block. Dima knows better, knows that it's pretty unlikely to consistently make that shot in a way that's threatening to Fan Zhendong. We've seen Dima do it from time to time, but he's playing the smart game, tactically playing the odds. For example, that wide out backhand. As fast as Fan Zhendong is, if he makes his shot, he leaves the table wide open. Big point for Fan Zhendong to tie it back up. It's funny, the lips of Dima look quite healed. Yesterday they were cracking. You could see a little bit of bleeding from the dryness. Full commitment on the step round. Fan Zhendong has paid for it before, but he doesn't make the first shot here, not the first opening attack. From a lip standpoint, you wonder if sometimes a little bit of pain adds to the tension, adds a little bit of fight. Like tying a rope around a bull in a sensitive place.
5-all.
But I think the more likely answer is simply that it's Fan Zhendong on the other side of the table, rather than Lin Gaoyuan, the more experienced of the two in terms of international exposure over the last several years. Just brought back to the hotel that conversation about please let me win. There's no question Dima is fighting out here, and Fan Zhendong as well. This is what we want to see. Two of the best players in the world fighting as hard as they can.
Let 6,
as hard as they can, as smart as they can, as fast as they can.
Let 6, 5.
Oh, just too close to the net on that last one. Not much Dima could do. He recovered two very difficult balls in this rally. Here's one, the net Gets in on the extension, the flip the opposite way behind him. Fan Zhendong just out of reach. Dima would have to be in a sprint and already realizing he's going that way. Not much to do there. 2-point lead for Fan Zhendong.
6-7.
Difficult, but not out of reach. 1 point at a time, 1 game at a time. Anything is possible. Again, regardless of who wins, it would always be a thrill to see it happen in Game 7. Oh, the luck comes back. Table tennis karma. Not long after the net before. This one stays short enough. Fan Zhendong has to be careful about the back of the table. There's body positioning. Still playing the first ball always. 2 in a row for Dima. Right idea. Fan Zhendong is so fast, it just forces Dima to try and play that even wider. Here's one near the baseline, the step around. Look how fast Fan Zhendong is. He doesn't commit too early. 2 shots in a row, he starts to make the move, and then when he realizes, that's when he can lunge and make his leap. So breaking the streak and the momentum. 1 out of the last 3 points to Fan Zhendong. The rip backhand, the signature. Dima's baby is Emma, but it's sort of his backhand as well. And as the crowd chants for Dima, it drowns out the chants for Fan Zhendong. This is surprising, a push in the rally. We've got some famous umpires in the crowd there, but mostly it's Kazakhstan's table tennis fans and spectators from around the country. 1 point lead for Dima, second serve here to earn 2 game points. Top of the racket and it's out. He's got 2 game points here, looking to send this in to game number 5. Every game between these two, especially with their recent history and the recent news about their race for world rank number 1 that Dima has won, this is just such a juicy match to watch, and every game would be a privilege for the audience. Fan Zhendong against 2 game points. Mistiming it, just missing the contact for that slower spinny ball from Fan Zhendong. 1 game point saved. Exhale stress, inhale confidence. Oh, man. Now again, from this camera angle, it's not always clear how easy a serve is to receive or how high. It looked like that one escaped from Fan Zhendong, the type of ball that Dima would come in for. Let's look at it from here. If he was a little bit earlier to get in, that forehand flip kill, or even a forehand flip anywhere on the table, could have been effective. 2 game points saved by Fan Zhendong. Too tough. Xiao Kuaidze just brings the heat. He's played the ball down the line with that forehand so many times. So 3 in a row in a streak. He now has championship point to take the title over Dima, to get back from that 13-15 loss in Germany just about a month ago. And he does it. Fan Zhendong, 4-0 over Dimitrij Ovtcharov, January's world number 1. And the friends pat shoulders and a good handshake and eye contact. Dima had some opportunities in Game 4 and definitely brought spectacular play to the table, but Fan Zhendong determined. Again, I was with him in Germany, and there was no question that he was not happy that Dima got his first win before. He was determined, and he worked hard to come back. The stronger player, the better man here today.